Good evening and welcome to what I hope will be an unforgettable experience for each of you tonight. I'm Jennifer Byrne, founder of Greater Gift, a nonprofit organization dedicated to thanking and celebrating people who contribute to the advancement of medical research. It is with gratitude and excitement to be a part of the Hero's Journey Art as we shine the light on clinical research participants this evening in a way that might surprise, inspire, and cause you to move to action. This experience for all of us has been years in the making and represents unparalleled synchronicity of the vision of a pharmaceutical company, Eli Lilly and Company, Winston-Salem as the City of Arts and Innovation, this community's very strong commitment to leading transformative healthcare, and the legacy of significant contribution to clinical research over many decades. Tonight, all culminating in a beautiful and symbolic piece of art that has been brought to life by a talented artist and the people, the heroes of research. A friend recently remarked that despite many of our unique and special elements, Winston-Salem is a city that flies below the radar. Actually, I think this really is true, especially when it comes to our mark on new medicines. Did you know that over the past 30 years, most of the major drug approvals have been linked to this community? Last year alone, collectively as a community, we included nearly 10,000 people in clinical trials here locally. Right here, 10,000 people participating in hundreds of different clinical trials involving hundreds of compounds and medical devices. We are on the map of global health breakthroughs and medical advancements in a huge way. Vaccines, cancer treatments, diabetes, regenerative medicine applications, and the list goes on and on. I'm surrounded here by a group of people who have graciously and enthusiastically joined the Hero's Journey. First, you will hear from Dr. Julie Freischlag, CEO of Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center and interim dean of the medical school. Next, Mayor Alan joins, and followed by Sidney Visa, a brave and amazing young woman who will share her very personal story. Following Sidney, Dr. Eric Tomlinson. Dr. Tomlinson is the Chief Innovation Officer for Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center and the President of the Innovation Quarter. Then we will hear from Joe Kim, and we will hear from Kelly McGee. Both Joe and Kelly are legends within the clinical research enterprise. They are finding ways to make research better for patients through their work at Eli Lilly and Company. Finally, we will hear from the man who created the surprise behind the curtain. John Magnan, as you will experience for yourself, John has created a spectacular tribute to the hero's journey. Unfortunately, but not surprising, as you know, we have a few developments and burning issues in Washington right now. Senator Burr was not able to join us. However, Garth Regan, Deputy Director of Economics, is here with us. What is important for you to know that our regulators also recognize the responsibility to make improvements for patients. The Enhanced Clinical Trial Act of 2017 was signed into law in August of this year and was sponsored by 4 bipartisan members of the Senate Health Committee, Senators Bennett, Hatch, Burr, and Casey. This bipartisan law encourages conversations between the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, key industry stakeholders, and Americans that participate in clinical trials, with the goal of modernizing the clinical trial process to provide more treatments and therapies to save and improve lives. I can speak from firsthand experience. Senator Burr is deeply committed to this, as I personally have met with him, his staff, and will continue to work closely with the team to speak of real-world patient and system experiences. The hero's journey is not one to be walked alone. I thank you for being here tonight, and as one of my favorite bands sing, We get to carry each other. Thank you, and now we get to hear from Dr. Freischlag.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for that welcoming, and welcome all of you here. I'm a newcomer to this town. I've only been here 7 months. I am the interim dean now at the medical school, as well as the CEO, but my real heart is I am a vascular surgeon. And when I became a vascular surgeon, there were many of the therapies we did not know whether or not they would work. Our interventions, our ability to bypass, to prevent amputation, to prevent stroke and treat aneurysms, all were unproven in many ways. We were just getting the technology so we could perform that procedure. Then we had to figure out, is it actually going to make you better? I was a participant in many clinical trials in the Veterans Administration system, and my brick that is in this beautiful masterpiece, I'm sure in a very prominent position, is all about VA trials. As we started when I was a young assistant professor at the University of California in San Diego, as well as Los Angeles, we determined whether or not operating on your carotid artery to remove the plaque actually did prevent stroke, because we actually thought maybe it didn't because there were high complications. We determined whether or not you needed to have your heart intervened on before we bypassed your leg, and we were able to stratify patients who needed that. And even presently, I am the national principal investigator of a trial looking at 2 ways to fix your abdominal aortic aneurysm, either a great big operation, which of course we'd be more gladly to do, or through an endovascular means with a new technology that we're testing. And now 15 years later, we're writing our paper to see how do patients do. And the most important thing I'll tell you, we had a premise of who should be benefited by a minimally invasive endovascular procedure. Wouldn't you think it would be the older patient, the patient who's not so healthy, that would benefit from the more minimally invasive procedure? And we found out exactly the opposite, that it was the younger patient that qualified for the trial that actually benefited more because their disease was so more progressive as a younger age, and their older patient actually did better with the open procedure. Now, who would have thought? That's the power of a clinical trial. It helps you rethink, so each patient that sits right in front of you right then, you can actually use evidence to have them decide and choose which procedure they would like to have, or perhaps they would not like to have a procedure at all, and that's okay too, as long as they know the data. I have been quoted as calling those patients who participate in clinical trials heroes. So isn't it great tonight is heroes? Because these are patients who let you put them in a trial to see which is better. And maybe it won't benefit them directly immediately, but it's going to benefit those that come from behind. And isn't that a hero as we go forward to look at them? I know when my mother got an abdominal aortic aneurysm, you know, I was asking everyone what to do with her. It wasn't something that I thought of, that she would participate in a trial to make it happen. So those patients that participate not only get care, but they are true heroes. So I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. All of you are heroes. Jennifer's a hero as we go forth looking at clinical trials and how it can affect what we do with patients. It is truly one of the most important things I've ever done in my career, and certainly has made me learn many things that surprise me about the best care for our patients. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Do you know what a special time you're about to have here in Winston-Salem? This is an extraordinarily unique experience for our city. We're one of 3 cities across the entire country that are going to be experiencing and actually keeping this wonderful piece of art that John has prepared. Unveilings have occurred in Austin, Texas, in Indianapolis, Indiana, and now right here in little old Winston-Salem. We're so thrilled to be able to have this piece of art and piece of public sculpture here in our community. I want to personally thank Eli Lilly for your commitment and to your selecting Winston-Salem to receive this. But most importantly, I think, is to recognize the heroes' journeys that will be memorialized in this piece of sculpture. I actually painted one of the bricks myself, and so I hope it's not too prominent, John. It wasn't that good. But it is an amazing story that tells these folks. And I just was talking to Jennifer earlier that during this past, I guess, 3 months since we began talking about this, I've learned so much more about the importance of clinical trials and the whole preparation of new drugs and new medical devices and how important that is and how sometimes difficult it is to find participants. So we're glad that here in the City of the Arts and Innovation, we are part of that. And the City of the Arts and Innovation is not just a casual name that we gave ourselves. The arts, we had the first arts council in the country, founded here in 1949, and now innovation is such a key part of our ecosystem here with the Innovation Quarter and other research that's going on throughout our community. Mr. Lilly is a great fit there for us there. John, thank you, and I hope that you will find additional ways that we can work together with the Eli Lilly Company here in Winston-Salem. But again, thank you all for being here. I think you're going to remember this evening. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sidney Visa, and I'm a senior at Forsyth Country Day School. I am proud to be here speaking after contributing a brick to the Hero's Journey art sculpture. On Thanksgiving Day last year, I developed a rare infection in my throat. The infection took 3 ER visits and a week to treat. The doctors hospitalized me for 2 weeks to try to figure out what was going on, and I'm thankful they did, because the first morning I woke up with a temperature of 105.9, was rushed to IMU, and had become septic. I am thankful for the young medical student who stepped from the back and said, "I think I know what's happening," because he was right. I had a rare reaction to the medicine I had been on for 3 years to treat my severely hyperactive thyroid. The doctors decided it was best for me to remove the gland and begin treatment with a synthetic hormone. The surgery was intense, resulting in me needing a blood transfusion. The journey was unfortunately not over yet. I walked into the doctor's office for a follow-up visit and was wet with words that no 17-year-old should hear. "We found 3 spots of cancer on your thyroid." The words still resonate with me every 6 months when I go for a tumor marker test or a scan, but I am thankful to be standing up here 100% cancer-free. I have a lot of people to be thankful for that made that outcome possible. My story is one of the true testimonies of the importance of medical research. My case put me into a 0.02 percentile range, but thanks to the young doctor, the problem was solved. Every day, new cases develop, which allow opportunity for us to better our research and knowledge. Clinical trials offer opportunity for us to learn, discover, and help provide hope that will benefit my generation with discovery of many new treatments. I am thankful for my journey, thankful for all the doctors who are truly my heroes, and hopeful for the impact clinical trials and medical research will continue to have. Thank you to Lilly, Mr. Magnan, and the Greater Gift Foundation for bringing the return sculpture to our community to raise awareness of clinical trials. Thank you and have a wonderful night.
Good evening. It's truly humbling to listen to the stories of folks like Sidney, and we meet them every day at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. We see people in need of our clinical services and in need of intervention. The Innovation Quarter, which now represents one of the growth areas of this city, is very proud to be here this evening. There are 3,600 of us work in the Innovation Quarter, and in 9 months' time, we will also be a recipient of the art structure that John has so diligently and beautifully created, because it will move from the Benton Center to somewhere in the Innovation Quarter. I haven't quite worked out where yet, but we'll get that sorted out. I assure you there will be parking nearby. As has been teased a few times this evening, elements of the sculpture are bricks, and each of those bricks represents an individual story. We've heard of 2 of those this evening, and there are many others. Having seen the stories represented by the bricks in the other locales, which have moved us to tears, this may well happen also this evening, so be prepared. But Innovation Quarter is very proud this evening to announce that we are donating for each of the bricks a contribution to the Greater Gift organization that's in the Innovation Quarter for the provision Thank you. For the provision of a vaccine that can be used for children and could potentially save the lives of those children. So count each of those bricks and see how many contributions we've made. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just talk for just a couple seconds about why we're doing this. Right, so no new medicines can be made without research. Right? No new medicines can be made without research. Research is slow. Why is it slow? One main reason is because there's a low level of awareness. And so what we're trying to do is raise the awareness of this so that we can have better medicines faster. This project was very much like research in and of itself because there were things we knew and there were things we did not know about how to execute something like this. Here's what we knew. We knew that we couldn't do a Got Milk style campaign. That doesn't play in this day and age. We knew that the internet was a great mobilizer of user-driven content and people collaborating with their own stories. We knew we couldn't just reason our way out of the awareness problem, and we knew it had to be something emotional. These are the things we knew. We didn't know a lot. There was a lot we didn't know. We didn't know how to get this approved by ethics. We didn't know how this would be legal. We didn't know how to pull something like this off. We didn't know how to work with an artist to make sure that this was all going to work. We didn't know how much it was going to cost. And so when we don't know a great many things, you have to pick the right person to pull this all together. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Kelly McKee, who, from the Lilly side of things, really, through brains and brawn, pulled this whole thing together. And this is the third sculpture, the final sculpture, and it's just a momentous occasion to be finally unveiling this. So I'd like to introduce Kelly McKee, my colleague at Lilly, who is really the driving force behind this from our side of things.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to start with a little story for you because storytelling is really important. Part of the hero's journey is about stories. When I grew up, we didn't talk openly about diseases, and a socially charged subject, such as HIV, was definitely off limits. But one day, I remember going to a special assembly at my elementary school and seeing a beautiful patchwork quilt that filled the entire gymnasium. It was the AIDS quilt, crowdsourced art created by individuals affected by what was then a lethal and highly stigmatized disease. The sentiments conveyed in the quilt and the shared experience in viewing the crowdsourced art gave my community, and many others, a means to talk about something previously unmentionable. That quilt and the thoughts and feelings expressed by the individual contributors broke down the barriers of the taboo and allowed families and communities to talk about the disease and bring awareness to an epidemic. Today, thankfully, HIV and AIDS aren't taboo anymore. And thanks to advancements in medicine and the clinical trials leading to the developments of those medicines, HIV is now a treatable disease. My hope is that the Hero's Journey Art Project spurs similar awareness and conversations about clinical trials that the AIDS quilt did for HIV. Misunderstanding and ignorance of the importance and process of clinical trials is a common occurrence. This project and the sharing of stories from the clinical trial community has the real opportunity to break down the barriers of clinical research awareness and shine the light on the millions of individuals who participate in making new medicines possible. There is real power in our combined voices. Now, it won't be easy. And like developing new medicines, producing the Hero's Journey Art Project was a big challenge. But it was worth doing if it means succeeding and showing appreciation and gratitude for all of those involved in clinical research. Appreciation for the development of medicines that help my family and help yours. Appreciation and hope for the future. Innovating in a non-innovative world is hard. It's frustrating, but it's needed and it's worth it. So I would like to thank you all. Thank you to the Winston-Salem community for embracing the Hero's Journey Art Project. Thank you for your commitments to raising clinical research awareness in your community and beyond. And thank you for your dedication and your enthusiasm.
I guess it's my turn. Before I give my remarks about the art, I want to point out that I don't think any other medical organization, company has done anything like this, and I've tried to find it online. No other company has commissioned their own work, crowdsourced, and put it out around the country in public display for the purpose of honoring the patients. Can you imagine how hard that was to do in a large company that's overlaid with regulations that are piled one on top of the other? What Joe said is true. The person that got us over those hurdles and through those wickets was Kelly McKee. Without what she did, we would not be standing here tonight. So please join me in thanking her for that. And now she's over there texting, November 16th, John said something nice about me. Well done, Kelly. The hero's journey is not like a vacation journey. It's a journey that people take very reluctantly. In fiction, think of Dorothy going into Oz, or Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, or the person who just got thrown into the medical system because of a serious diagnosis. They didn't want to be there, but depart they must. And so to symbolize that very first step in the hero's journey, in March, we unveiled the first sculpture called Departure at the Livestrong headquarters in Austin, Texas. Once on the journey, our hero must confront or must be initiated by dealing with the challenges of their world, whether it be the Wicked Witch, Darth Vader, or the medical system. To symbolize initiation, we unveiled the second marker on the hero's journey, called Initiation, in Indianapolis in August at the Cancer Support Community Center. But eventually, our traveler returns, having confronted and dealt with their challenges and discovered a newfound wisdom and awareness. It is that transformational return to themselves with awareness and acceptance that makes them the hero. And that's what this sculpture symbolizes here tonight. But the travelers are not alone. They have many people that go with them. Whether it's the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, or Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, or the patient's family, friends, medical staff, and researchers, they all travel together. And to symbolize that, there are 1,000 bricks like this, integrated into the 3 sculptures around the country to represent the entire clinical trial community. When you see these bricks tonight, some of them are raw, some of them are abstract, but they are all personal and emotional. Each one is precious, making this sculpture a reliquary of feelings. When you see it, please approach it, please touch it, look inside it, take pictures of it, and please share those pictures on social media. So, it is time. I invite you to direct your attention to the curtained area in the middle of the room. On behalf of the clinical trial community and Eli Lilly and Company, we present you the 3rd milestone of the hero's journey, Return.